Another day, another box score watching episode. We are at episode number 46. We talk about every game that happened yesterday for me, or the day before, and we debate, we talk about it, we get our opinions out there, we get our thoughts, and want yours opinions too, as I want to know what were your thoughts about yesterday's slate. What did you enjoy about this slate? What was your favorite game? What was your favorite moment, favorite meme? Everything, send it to me. You got my socials in down below. I want to know the best things you saw, and let's get into it as we start at Charlotte, where the Clippers played, and with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And I knew they were questionable before the game started, but I didn't even expect them to play. So when I, turned this game on, where I replayed this game with all possessions and I watched it, I didn't even expect them to be there, and they were there. And they didn't play that well, but in the fourth quarter they eventually got it done with Kawhi hitting the game-winning mid-range. His three-pointer looks off, and yeah, that's gonna be probably rust, and he's just gonna have to shoot himself out of that. Paul George looked really good, 19, 3 and 7. You got John Wall off the bench with 12, 5 and 12, even though he shoots the ball way too much for my liking, because his playmaking has been so good. I wish he would just take 8 shots a game maybe, but he was so good in this game. He was really, really good. Luka had 9 off the bench. Nicolas Batum had 13 and 5 off the bench, and the bench was essentially what really saved the game for the Clippers, as the substitutions all made impact and made sure the Clippers got this win in Charlotte, who Charlotte keeps competing, man. No matter how many injuries they have, no matter how much, they appear when you just look at the team and how they should be, they compete, they fight, and they are in a lot of games. Terry Rozier had 22 and 8 on 22 shots, which is as good as you'll get from Terry Rozier in 2022. Kelly Oubre had 28 points. Mason Plumlee had 8 and 12, and that lefty mid-range is insane. PJ Washington bounces back after going 0 of 13 on, I'm not sure when it was, but last game he went 0 of 13. Today he got 11 of 21 and had 26 points. Nick Richards off the bench with 11 and 10, but the bench, even though they scored and they weren't inefficient, the defense went so down with the bench, and the Clippers took advantage of that, as their bench clearly outplayed the Hornets bench, which should be expected, right? But was the issue in this game, and the Clippers got a huge win. Then we move to Orlando, to, La Mickey Land. I'm just messing with you. Where the Magic lost to the Bucks, and the Bucks, got a comfortable win. Another game of Chris Middleton. This time he struggled from the field and overall wise, but hey, he has to get his legs back under him. It's his second game back. We're gonna give him at least 15 games still. I'm gonna be a little skeptical about him, but I hope I don't have to be. Jrue Holiday 17, 8 and 10. He was really good. Giannis 34, 13 and 5 with 2 blocks, 8 of 11 from the free throw line. After the debacle in Philadelphia, he's been shooting really well from the free throw line. I'm not sure percentage-wise how well it is actually, because there might have been one that game in there, but he's been shooting much better, that's for sure. And the bench was sensational for the Bucks, even though you can see Pat Connaughton had 2 of 9. He was really good in the game, and the bench overall brought a great energy when they were out there with Jrue Holiday, with Giannis. They brought a great energy in there, and they were really solid, as the Magic keeps struggling. Paolo, even though he, was 4 of 16 from the field, he still got his 20, 12 and 7, and he has been a little less impressive these last couple of games, but he continues to put up numbers, so that's a great sign, right? Even though when you're unimpressive on the night, you still put up good numbers. That's a great sign for the Magic. Mo Wagner had 19 and 12. He was solid. I'm sorry, he was really good. Franz Wagner had 25 and 6. He bounces back after a couple of that games. Then Markel Fultz had 20, and Cole Anthony was out of 9. Both getting more into shape. Markel Fultz is looking a little better right now. Next up, we move on to Atlanta, as the Hawks once again blow a double-digit lead and lose to the Thunder at home. And with Atlanta, With Atlanta, there was this story about Trae Young not attending the Nuggets game, which we've talked about as he was out, and some tensions with Nate McMillan. And I understand it, as I made a video that he should probably be fired over the last couple of days. I had this video out there, and yeah, I get it, but at the same time, Trae has to do better and simply has to be better on the field. On the field, like he's at the duty, man. On the basketball court, where today he was 23 and 10, which, you know, when you look at it, fine, but 6 of 19, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line. His shot has not been there this season, and he's shooting really bad. He got to the line a ton at least, but it's bad. DeJounte, 24, 6 and 3, 2 steals, 2 blocks, he's looking really good. Clint Capella, 14 and 16. Really solid, and of course they are missing 2 starters in John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, so you can expect them to win every game, but when you have a double-digit lead on the Oklahoma City Thunder at home, you should win that game no matter what happens, right? And Bogdan Bogdanovic, also second game back, 17 points, 5 of 10 from the 3-point line. You should win these types of games, even though the bench is not that well, and when Trae and DeJounte are not on the court, they have the worst offense ever. And the fourth quarter offense is so unimaginative and so frustrating to watch that it's understandable, but you're still frustrated with it. But shout out to the Thunder, who keep, being out there, keep, playing solid basketball, fun enough to watch. Shea, 35, 6 and 5, 2 steals, 10 of 22. He's not been as efficient this month, but he's still sensational. 15 of 15 from the free throw line. Couldn't miss, didn't miss. And he's special. He's just special. No, not much more to add there, right? Shout out to the bench, who was really solid. Overall, Treyman, Mike Muscala, Ousmane Dieng had 15 and 5. Aaron Wiggins was okay in his minutes. Isaiah Joe had 9 in his 10 minutes. He's a sniper out there. And the starters were also really solid. Josh Giddey, 17, 5 and 4. They had a great game together. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl had 10 and 6. Lu Dort, 11 and 10, even though he couldn't hit the ocean with his shot. And Jalen Williams at 12. Then we go to the 6th, to Toronto, as the Raptors lose at home against the Celtics. With the Celtics now at 20 wins, but still only 1 game actually ahead of the Bucks, right? Since the Bucks have played 3 games less. And they get a great win in Toronto, where it was kinda looking like the Toronto was gonna have them on a back-to-back night for the Celtics, but they turned it around, they turned it up. Jason Tatum, 31 and 12. Efficient performance, 5 of 10 from the 3-point line. He was sensational. Jaylen Brown, after 2 really great games, struggled a little bit from the field. He had 22 points on 22 shots, but 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and he still plays really solid defense out there. Blake Griffin dunked the basketball and was actually, valuable out there, 13 and 8, which you don't see often from Blake Griffin in 2022. So that was actually fun to see. Marcus Smart hit some crazy threes, 18 and 7, and the bench still shoots great, still was solid. Luke Cornett had 11 and 7 in his 15 minutes, that's great also, right? A great win for him and Toronto. Rough loss, Corey Barnes, 21, 7 and 4. A better game from him after, so far what has been a struggle second season, sophomore year in the NBA. Fred VanVleet, man, I'm so fed up with the dude. He can't hit anything. He's been really bad since returning from injury. Pascal Siakam, 29 and 7. He's been Pascal Siakam since he returned from the injury, right? Gary Trent, 20 points off the bench, but it's just not enough. They need more from Fred VanVleet. They need better defense, and well, they need something. They just need something else, because they appear like the same team as last year, right? They just appear they're the same, and that's doesn't move anything. Then we head on to the game of the night as the Rockets beat the Sixers in double overtime. Let's start with Philly, even though they lost, because they got James Harden back and he struggled in his return, as well a lot of people do in their return. He played 38 minutes, had to play 38 minutes because there was double OT. Probably right. I don't think he had a minute restriction, but he had to play in spurts a little bit, and he was off. He couldn't hit anything from inside the arc. Hit 4 threes. missed 2 game winners potentially, but it's still a great sign that he's back, right? Joel Embiid was still sensational, but fouled out, and that was the end for the Sixers as they couldn't get anything else. I was disappointed. Tobias had 7-8 from the 3-point line, 27 points. I was disappointed they didn't run any play for him in the clutch and in the end, because, you know, it's the Embiid post up, Embiid top of the key mid range. It's the Harden ISO, Harden pick and roll with Embiid, and I feel like since Tobias Harris was going from the 3-point line like this, you gotta run a play for him at least once. But Shake Milton was bad defensively. He contributes at least, but the defense was bad. Daniel House also wasn't that great. Paul Reed wasn't good. The bench didn't do them any favors, and with James Harden going 4 of 19, you're not gonna win many games like that. And you were still in it. The Rockets are what they are. Jalen Green had 27, 4 and 7, 7 turnovers also, but one of his better games for sure. Kevin Porter had 24, 6 and 3. Jabari 16 and 11. He turned up late. He made some clutch threes, clutch buckets. Tari Eason off the bench at 18. Kenyon Martin had 14, and a great win for the Rockets, who have been looking a little better over the last week or so, where they are more competitive, they are in more games, and I like to see that from those teams who we know they are tanking, we know they are not going anywhere, but it's still great to see them compete. Then we move on to the Memphis, where Grizzlies without Jaren beat the Heat. And of course, I forgot to mention Desmond Bane, but he's been out for a long time. Ja and Jaren didn't play on a back-to-back, and Tyus Jones stepped in for Ja, had 28, 5 and 10 on 10 of 16 shooting, and was sensational. Whenever he plays this starter role, he's more than adequate, right? And even off the bench, he's really solid, but whenever Ja is out, he always fills the stat sheet, man. Santi Aldama 18 and 10, 8 of 12 from the field. Dylan Brooks 17 points on 22 shots. Dylan Brooks stats. Classic kinda, right? And the bench was really good. Kennedy Chandler got some minutes. The rookie had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 5 steals. He didn't shoot well, but he was solid out there. Brandon Clark had 11 and 4. Xavier Tillman had 4 points in his minute. And overall, a great win, obviously, as they played the Heat, who beat the Celtics, and kinda need to rack up some wins also. But they just weren't good enough today. On offense, their bench couldn't hit anything. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Dedmon in their minutes didn't do anything. Haywood Haseman did something at least, but he wasn't great. And the starters played solid game. Just nothing that special. Bam had just 15. You obviously need more from him. Tyler Hero, 23 and 13. 8 of 20, 3 of 11. Just not good enough to beat a really good Memphis team who always fights when they don't have their best players. Who always turn around more and more greedy when they don't have the 3 best players, of course. And you just needed more and wanted more from Miami, as they kind of needed, to build off that Boston performance, but instead then get another loss. Then we move on to Dallas, as the Mavs continue to own the Suns, with the Mavs blowing them out again. And I say again, like it, they didn't blow a lead last time in Phoenix, but we all know that the last year's playoff series kind of had a mental toll on the Suns. And they kind of served their season when they, turned it around in that first game. It kind of felt like they actually, got some momentum back into them. Because if they got blown out, who knows how the season would be looking right now, right? And they just had an off game. The Mavs, off of a great win in New York, Madison Square Garden. They got the groove back. They always got the more confidence against these guys, and Luka had 33, 6 and 8. Josh Green off the bench, he's been so good. 6 of 7 from the field, 16, 4 and 5. 2 steals. He's been really, really great. Might be their second best player right now in terms of value and performance. And Christian Wood had 18 and 9 off the bench. Tim Hardaway continues to be really solid, 17 points. And just a great win for the Mavs, as they destroy the Suns, who nobody turned up except for Ayton, who had 20 and 8 on 11 shots. He was kinda solid, but nobody really turned up. D-Book was 4 of 13, Campaign was 4 of 16. And it's just a rough game. It happens. They're still missing their starting forward. They're still missing Chris Paul. And rough games happen. It's just a shame that it was against the Mavs, right? And last but not least, we have my Warriors doing stupid stuff as they lose to the Pacers at home. To add insult to injury to the Pacers without Tyrese Haliburton and Miles Turner, which is insane. And Andrew Nembhard turned into prime Steph Curry, 2016 Steph, 31, 8, and 13. He couldn't miss. He was sensational. Just what a performance from Andrew Nembhard. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Ben Mathurin continues to struggle on the road. Just 14 points on 16 shots, but he was still solid. Buddy Hield, 17 points on 19 shots. But it didn't matter because Andrew Nembhard was fucking insane. Isaiah Jackson had 13. O'Shea Brissett had 14 and 8. And I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted to see this from this Pacers team during the whole road trip. But of course they turned up only against me. But at least it was against the Lakers also. But they should have lost that game, let's keep it honest. But they won this game. It was not like the Warriors lost it. It was that the Pacers were simply better today. I can't say anything more. I'm still can't believe how, disappointing the fouls have been. And the carry calls and the traveling calls, and I get it, I understand, but it feels like the Mavericks are being targeted. I'm gonna sound like a salty ass fan after we just lost, but every game it feels like we are being targeted, man, and it's frustrating. It really is. And of course, I can't see completely objectively because I'm a fan, so I'm always gonna be on my team's side. Not always. If they do some dumb shit like when Draymond punched Jordan, I'm not gonna be on Draymond's side, right? And what the organization decided to do and how they handled the situation. But it's really ridiculous out there with some of these calls and some of these carries and palming the ball, and then you don't call it on the other team, and it's just a weird line to walk, and it feels like the refs kind of want to, put it in our face since we taunted them a lot and we won a lot, and they might be tired of us, man. It really feels like it. Steph was horrible. Worst game of the season. 12, 4, and 6. 3 of 17. He couldn't hit anything. It felt like he switched powers with Andrew Nembhard, to be completely honest with you, right? Clay, 8 of 16 from the 3-point line. Still took too many shots for my liking. Jordan had 23 on 21. He was okay-ish. And I loved what I saw from Jonathan Kuminga. Not what I saw from Moody. I would put Moody and Wiseman on both on the trade block if anyone, wants to take a chance on them. And just a really bad loss before a rough stretch for my Warriors. And that is it for today's recap, right? We got through all the games. I told you all my thoughts. I want to still know your thoughts about these games. What was your favorite game? What was your favorite moment? What was your favorite storyline from today? Favorite memes, and me those memes on Twitter or on Instagram, which we have down below in the bio. And we got the Cavs against the Lakers. Cavs at home. That's a great game. And the Nuggets against the Mavs. Shame the Mavs are on a back-to-back, but still should be a really good one. And Heat Pistons is not too shabby in and of itself, but a shame that we have only 3 games and that they really, are doing these 3 games on Tuesday and Thursday right now, because it's just a little too loaded on some of these days, right? I'm not sure if this will actually... here next week there are 5 games, 4 games. It should get better throughout the year, hopefully. Hopefully it's because of the NFL and some of the other stuff, right? I don't know. I don't actually know. But I'll be here to cover it. Don't you worry, I'll be here, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.